so the album has been out for a little while since then, as a matter of fact. So how has it been going? Have you had a chance to kind of interact with people and talk to them about it much?
We're online,
Yeah.
but that's kind of there's a bit of a disconnect there, obviously. And I haven't played any shows, so it felt like that installation was that opportunity to really get people's thoughts, and it was a nice opportunity to really try put people in the world. So yeah, I mean, other than that, it's I'm kind of looking forward to a show to really be able to see how people, um, you know,
Yeah.
react to it in a different
Hopefully
way.
that'll happen soon. And speaking of
Yeah,
a live show, I mean, it's a very kind of ambient, ethereal kind of vibe that you're laying down there. So
yeah.
how do you do that live? Do you have other musicians with you, or is there a lot of tracks that you're playing?
Mm,
How does it work?
that's a great question because
Well,
I
thank you.
for the first record they were sort of far more pop leaning, quite immediate songs that did translate um, in that live setting kind of without too much trying. But this time I've always noticed that the slower the songs for me, the less you start to kind of lose people a bit, and you got to try pull them in with sort of a bit more pace or a bit more urgency.
Right.
So yeah, it's top of my agenda to sort of find a way to make those songs. I think it'll just be me, but
Uh-huh.
it's within that parameter
Right.
trying to make that work. But yeah.
And is that what you're thinking about while you're locked down?
Yes, yes. Well, now that the record's done, it's straight onto the live stuff, for sure.
Yeah.
Whenever
When was the
that may
last
be.
time you did a live thing?
um, Probably like a year ago.
Right.
It's been few and far between, so really got to concentrate my energy now.
And because of the nature of the music, is it difficult in a live performance to get the audience in the right frame of mind? I mean, you don't want people yammering throughout it and kind of
Yeah,
clicking bottles and stuff. So,
yeah. I mean, like the last time I played an acoustic guitar live, which I imagine is kind of what this record needs, is something like a guitar. I was
right.
18 and playing at Wine Cellar, so um, you know it is daunting because it's like you really do, you know, there's an expectation that the crowd are there listening, but once everyone's got a drink in hand and they're there for a gig, you
Yep.
can't um, you can't really call the shots unless you're really owning
Exactly.
it.
And the album itself, which is called what? Water Overhead, correct?
That's on, yeah.
So, and what 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 is the concept overall? How would you describe it for folks who haven't heard it yet?
Um, it's very introspective, and a lot of it was created from my room, and so it sort of feels like an album that um, is sort of meant to be heard by yourself.
Right.
And I think a lot of the songs seem to almost be like this frustration with myself and why the album took so long, and just sort of very reflective
Mm.
on the process itself, which starts to make my head spin.
Right. So how long did it take to put it together?
Well, about 4 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Like it's funny. You see the big artists in the States who like take 4 years on a record, but in the timeline of things, they've probably toured for half of that,
Right.
and so it's sort of more justified. But when it's just me sitting in my room for 4 years, you definitely start to question what the hell are you doing in there.
So is it that solitary of an experience for you creating this music?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, touching back on the live thing, it didn't. It sort of fell out of my mind that it was meant to then be translated back into the live thing. So
Right.
it was always a very studio-based project for me.
Hmm. So
Yeah.
going into when you started thinking about making this record, what were you thinking of? what was there a certain mood or message, or I mean, it's mostly instrumental, obviously, but still, I assume there's something you wanted to get across. What might that be?
I think I felt like I was on a roll at the back end of the first record, and I felt um, quite competent and felt like I had the tools around me to just sort of put out to put together one quite quickly. But something sort of, I don't know, hard to place, but my intention was to just sort of continue to write in that similar style, and I wasn't trying to break that all down. But at a point when it wasn't coming, I was like, well, I do need to now reassess and find that intent. So that took a bit of digging. And then by about 2018, so 2 years into the project, that's when I felt like I'd clicked onto something.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, that is grueling. It sounds kind of grueling. Did it feel that way,
Yeah.
or was it? Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
And was there a point where you kind of broke through and felt like you knew where you're going?
Despite, the first songs of this record sort of coming together at the start of 2018, it felt like by the end of that year, the record was essentially a whole. And then it was a case of just a very slow bleed on the singles. And so, but yes, it is kind of an interesting one to kind of look back on, because it feels like a lot of those songs were done so long ago now.
Right. And so, were you at the installation that I attended?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I saw you there.
Yeah, I was absorbed in it. But most of the night.
And did you observe people observing, or how they reacted to your music?
Yes, of course. I really, it wasn't like I was staring at people, like, trying to figure out reactions. I had people come up to me and, tell me what they thought of it and stuff, which was really nice. But I think for me, that installation, there was definitely, going into it, goals that I wanted people to, sorry, I'm rambling a bit here.
No,
but
that's what we're here for.
I wanted it to feel like you can approach it at your own pace, and you didn't have to just sit there and watch it and then leave,
Right.
So it was a case of making it feel comfortable enough that people could even sit down, that they could walk around the sides of the thing, that they could even go up to the water in the middle, and to see people doing that felt like I'd achieved what I set out to do.
Nice. And like you say, that's pretty much your live experience up until now, because we're all being locked down again. But you do have the show coming up. Was it with the Elemental?
Yes.
Elemental Nights in October. Hopefully, we'll be back to somewhat normalcy by then. So, what can we expect from you from that?
Well, I mean, it'll be just me, and I think I'm trying to find ways to rework some of the first record to sort of match that intensity of the second record a bit more, and sort of find a way to find a line through them all. Right. But there's literally just today's job.
It's on the list, huh?
On my few days off, I'm live. What the hell are you gonna do?
Right. And are you familiar with there's a few other artists. There's Paige, there's King Sweeties with Bick and Cask. Do you know, are you familiar with them very much?
I've seen those. Is it 2 singles now from King Sweeties?
Sounds like it may be.
Possibly. Yeah. And with the animated thing, I thought that was quite fun. But I haven't deep dived. I haven't. Right. I'm not number 1 fan status just yet. But
okay.
But yes, no, Paige, I've actually done some writing with before, and
oh really?
Yeah. So I've got 1 song on her EP that we co-wrote.
And what was that experience like writing with her?
Oh, it was cool. It was set up in in one of these write night things where you've got like, you know, 20 people that come along to one evening and you split everyone into 4 things. So, you know, you're writing very fast. You got to have a song within 3 hours. So yeah, that's on my own.
As a person who's never written a song in his life, that doesn't seem like the ideal situation. Like, but I don't know. I mean, how do you feel about it?
I feel like it seems to be a very LA way of going about things. You know, it's short and sharp, and but I've written some of my you know, more popular songs in that setting, where you just don't have time to really overthink anything. I'm sure I would have had a second record together in a week if I'd done it like that.
Right. 4 years a week, whatever.
Yeah. I really enjoy it, but I couldn't keep up that kind of level of writing. No.
Gotcha. And so this Elemental Nights thing, it goes on for quite a bit through the whole month of October. When they approached you about it, how did they explain it to you as what this whole thing was about and what they wanted you to do?
Well, it was quite vague. It was more my manager who just said, "We've got this cool gig opportunity, and you should take it."
That sounds good.
Yeah, you know, you stop sulking in your room and get out and play. But man, I mean, seeing like Opossum on the lineup, I was like, yeah, I look cool now.
And that's really what it's all about, isn't it?
Right?
So since it's been 4 years and you've been in the process of making this record, I'm assuming that you've got kind of material build up for the next thing. Have you thought about what you're going to do next?
Yeah. I mean, I'm feeling on a real roll this time. I've got actual a body together. You know, it's a skeleton, but yeah, I just really need to just hone in and embellish, but I reckon that third record's quite close now.
Really?
Yeah, I think just getting that second one out of the way has really helped to streamline the process a bit more, look at the mistakes that perhaps I made, not mistakes, but, you know, ways to really refine the process. And yeah, it's come together quite quickly.
Right. Oh, that's cool. So maybe we'll hear some of that. I mean, I don't know.
Yes, so some brand new stuff I will be trying to play live, but it's race against the clock at this stage.
Right. Well, October is not that far away, I guess. So yeah.
I know.
But let's face it, we got nothing else to do.
Exactly. That's it.
So are you pretty much stuck in your room with your computer?
Yes.
And that's what you do?
At least I've got the gears around me that I can keep writing, which is awesome. Yeah.
And how much does the technology affect the music that you end up putting out?
A lot, I reckon. It's funny, I was watching this Hans Zimmer interview, and he's talking about how the computer's an instrument too.
Yeah.
And I've been practicing production for 10 years or something. So I feel like I'm starting to really show some confidence in like knowing my way around it, and it's a big part of my productions. Yeah.
Right. Because I do video editing and stuff, and I go through the same process every time new software comes up. You kind of have to tell yourself it's not that hard. You can do this, and once you break through, then you're like free. You know, then you can do your thing. But until that point comes, you feel like you're kind of holding back or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. Or you keep stumbling over things like, oh, I've got to go Google how that's done. But once and once you've got some sort of flow, then you're on.
So if you were making music, say in 1975 instead of now, and all this stuff wasn't there, what would it sound like, do you think?
Oh God, I don't know. I mean, I'm a pianist first, so like, that's what I'm quite strong on. So, you know, it would probably be somewhere around that. it's interesting because nowadays I rely really heavily on all the inbuilt effects and stuff and all of that, and that's where I really have fun with it. So it's
Right.
interesting. I don't, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's a whole new way of looking at how to make, because I'm an old guy, so that's
Yeah.
kind of where I come from, that era. And
Yeah.
singer-songwriters, guitars and bass and drums and keyboards and all
Yeah.
that stuff. But that's really not where it's happening. I mean, it is in certain aspects, but not always. And
Yeah.
I find it fascinating to see how people like you are making music that's like this. This is like comes from another planet. You know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's just about having like being playful with it, and that's where I feel like I can start to really, you
Yeah.
know.
And is there a certain type of person who has become a fan? Do you think about somebody who you're making music for when you're making it?
I don't know. If anything, I feel it's someone who likes listening on headphones,
Right.
or sits in front of speakers. So maybe they're a bit sort of more, music geeky kind of person. Um, but no, I haven't like given it too much thought. It's interesting, you go to. I remember on my first record, I would, you see the audience, and one thing I noted was that there was all the girls, and they dragged along their boyfriends.
Right.
And they just kind of look at you like a bit pissed off, wasn't it? I don't know. Maybe that's my demographic. Pissed off boyfriends.
There you go. Well, somebody's got to go for it. It's an opening. All right. Well, hopefully we'll see you on stage in October, because I mean, let's face it, this can't go on forever.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
And the third album sounds like it's well on its way, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we're getting there.
All righty. Well, thank you for talking to me. I appreciate it.
No, I really appreciate your time as well. Thank you.
My pleasure, and we'll see you when we see you.